We have an update from one of our sponsors, the VegasNearMe app. They are constantly working to add more information. We tell you that all the time. The app is free. We also tell you that. But gosh, when we get these updates, it really is incredible how much information is inside.
Yeah, VegasNearMe has recently partnered with Vegas.com to get you the best prices on show tickets. In fact, they have over 1,000 shows listed inside the app.
And also, we know sometimes you need a quick break or a familiar go-to when you're in Las Vegas. And they do have more than 1,400 chain restaurants and stores listed in there. They have more than 8,000 individual locations, so you can find them. We're talking Walgreens, Starbucks, fast food, you name it.
And we all love to save money, don't we? Well, Vegas Near Me is going to help with that too. Right now, they're offering 50% off of shows at Jimmy Kimmel's Comedy Club, plus a $99 bottle package at Crazy Horse 3 for up to 4 people, including transportation.
Yeah, that's a good deal. And there's lots of other deals in there too. So get in and look around. Vegas Near Me is free. You don't have to put in your email. Download it in the Google or Apple App Store. Hours, locations, even the length of shows are in there. It's really good. You can even find live music, kid-friendly activities, maps of inside the hotels and casinos. It really is a lot of information in your hand.
It is. Vegas Near Me. Download it today.
It is episode 196 of Vegas Revealed. The checkered flag has fallen on Formula One in Las Vegas, and the Strip is starting to return to normal.
How long will the whole teardown take? Where does all the money go now that the race is over? And our observations after being there in person.
Plus, hello, we chat with Vegas Pauly C. You may know him if you follow his Vegas content on TikTok and Instagram.
Vegas Pauly C.
He is everywhere, every day, with interesting takes and insider info. We dial him up and have a chat.
That is this week on Vegas Revealed. And a big thank you to our sponsors, the Vegas Near Me app and Hotworks 24-hour infrared fitness studios.
We also want to thank our subscribers. We appreciate your monthly donations. All right, let's get to it now.
Spin that wheel.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 196 of Vegas Revealed. I'm Dana Roselli, along with Sean McAllister. And boy, what a week it has been. We wrapped up Formula One, our first inaugural race here in Las Vegas.
And overall, with the exception of a water valve cover disrupting the first trial run, it seemed to go relatively smoothly.
I think the afterthoughts from everyone, even in the racing world, it seems to be like it was a hit. I mean, they loved it. It was different. We had a lot more entertainment than maybe some of the races normally have. A lot of glitz and glam, a lot of celebrities. We had David Beckham here and Brad Pitt and Danica Patrick and Shaquille O'Neal and Paris Hilton, and the list goes on and on and on.
Well, and Brad Pitt himself even said that he thinks F1 is here to stay in Las Vegas.
That's right.
You're here, Formula One.
Yeah, we're so happy to be here.
What do you make of it?
It's just really exciting. I think this sticks. I think it's a good one.
So he seemed to enjoy it. The Biebs, Justin Bieber, was what? He had like the flag.
He had the checkered flag. Rihanna was here. It was packed.
It was. We have so many thoughts, and we know you all do out there in social media too, on social media, I should say. It's been quite a week with a lot of back and forth, a lot of positive, a lot of negative, and it looks like those two sides coming at it, especially on Twitter, which is now X. But I was going to say, we got a lot of, what do you say now? You got a lot of X's, a lot of tweets.
No, it's still tweets.
It's still tweets for us,
and it's still mean tweets when that applies.
Yeah,
which is what we dealt with, and we'll get into that.
I know we have so much to talk about, really. But we did get to go to opening ceremonies, and that was a joy. And then we were able to go to one of the practice rounds on Friday night, the 8:30 slot. So we have a lot to talk about. We want to point out, though, first, last week when we had the episode where we interviewed Mark Chinook and we talked about F1, we actually recorded that before we ever, A, knew we were going to be able to go to F1.
Right.
And B, before F1 weekend. So our thoughts have always been, this has not changed, going into F1, the Las Vegas Grand Prix, with a positive edge. We all dealt with the traffic. It has been a disruption for our town. But both you and I said, and we chatted with Mark about it last week, like, let's be positive. Let's see what happens. And that's what we did.
And judge the event itself based on just the event itself and not any of the outlying issues that people may have faced and frustrations, all that. I think overall, each of us has the impression that it was a really well done event.
It was. I mean, listen, and we were very lucky to be able to go to the Skybox and see the setup, which, is that whole paddock area there at Harmon and Koval. And we were in awe. I could tell by your face, my friend Melissa's face, your husband. We were just like, wow, this is gorgeous. Like, where did this come from? And then on the way in, the whole vibe there, it was really relaxed. People were just enjoying themselves. And there were people at every corner that you turned there to help you. So all those temporary workers, they made such a difference.
Oh my gosh. And there were over 7,000 Las Vegas locals who were hired to work at F1 in various venues around the course. That's a big deal in and of itself, but it did make it so much easier to get around, especially for a new infrastructure. You don't know what gate to go to. You don't know where to go once you're inside the gate. And everybody was so helpful in pointing you in the right direction and making sure that you had a really good experience. Everyone was the workers were really, really friendly.
Yeah, and they were easy to find because they had these like poles that they were holding that said, ask me.
Yeah.
So you're like, you didn't have to go search for someone. We had some great servers too. They were amazing. And like I said, we were invited, so we were able to take it in mostly for free so that we could experience and see firsthand what F1 was like. We really wanted to see the track and the race. At least the practice, the cars actually doing a run, let's put it that way, because we had never witnessed it in person.
Right.
You and I have been to NASCAR many times and we loved it. But we were throwing tips around here all over because we knew that we were invited and the staff was so great. We were just so impressed by everyone. So
they were. And so it was a great event. And we know that F1 is coming back again next year. We already have the dates, November 21st through 23rd of 2024. We can expect it back again. And they're accepting ticket deposits already as well.
Yeah. And when we put that out on Twitter, everyone's like, we knew that. It was a 10-year. I'm like, I know. But there were a lot of people on Twitter that were saying, oh, the race isn't coming back. This is going to be the final year. And it's like, no, it's not. But so a little reminder, it's still on. Everything's moving forward. Everyone can calm down. Gosh, there's so much to talk about. I don't even think we could go through all of it as far as what our experience was like. But let's just hit the opening ceremony because, listen, we love entertainment. We have an entertainment podcast. And so you and I were really impressed to see, what was it, like 8 performers in a row doing. I actually saw an interview with Journey and they said they asked them to perform and they said, you have the longest slot. And they said, how long's our slot? And they said, like, 2 minutes and 13 seconds because they moved them right along. But it was so cool how they moved them right along. It was like, 30 Seconds from Mars, Kylie Minogue, Journey, Keith Urban, will.i.am, and it just kept going and going and going and orchestrated to lights and J Balvin and then drones in the sky, creating this Welcome to Las Vegas sign and fireworks and what a sight. And it was so organized because it was on TV.
Right. And what was cool about it is that instead of having performers on a single stage or on multiple stages, they essentially, those video rolling billboards that you see going up and down the strip, it was kind of like there were those big mobile video screens that were lined up down the track, and there were like elevators that would bring the performers up to the top of those. So they were each performing on the top of a different massive video screen there right on the track. So it was a really neat way to display all of the entertainers who were there.
Yeah, it was really cool. We've seen a lot. I've been, to like multiple. I think I've been live on the strip at least 10 times for New Year's Eve. And that is spectacular. It's just different. So I put out this tweet that said it was one of the best things I've ever seen in Vegas. And I got attacked. Mostly a lot of positive, but like attacked as in like nasty comments, okay? And people say, well, what? No, we're being trolled. Well, what is a troll? People are allowed to have differing opinions. So it's like, well, they are, but if they keep coming at you over and over and over again and giving you memes that have the finger sticking up, and it's like, listen, here's the deal with us, okay? And here's the deal. I can speak for myself on myself. I don't talk about it if I don't like it. So if you hear me go silent about something or don't see me talk about it at all, it probably means I didn't love it. I'm only putting out there what I honestly feel, and if I like something. And if I kind of liked it, I will point out, here were some of the positives. I wish this was better. That's me. It's always been me. Nothing different. So yeah, it was one of the best things I've ever seen in Vegas, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, and here's the other thing is that we, being longtime Las Vegas locals, being longtime journalists, broadcasters, and admittedly cheerleaders for the city of Las Vegas, for all of Las Vegas, we like to see things succeed. And to have things succeed, sure, you can look at different situations critically, but you don't have to make overt attempts at being negative over and over and over about every single thing and decision and move that's made. You don't have to do that.
People couldn't go up the escalators. It was negative. Too many people on the escalators. Too many. The line was too long for the monorail. I'm like, oh my gosh. Everything.
It was everything. I mean, I think there are absolutely certain things that are fair to criticize with the way that certain things went in Las Vegas leading up to the F1 race. But overall, I mean, looking at it from a positive side, I mean, it did bring some great things to Las Vegas.
It did. And I just want to address another thing. People always say, well, it's different for you. It's easy in and out. That's not, and somebody wrote me that and I said, no, that's not true. We sit and we looked up a map and figured everything out and decided Ubering there and back was the best for us. We actually Ubered to Virgin and walked, and we did it on the way back. And normally, sometimes we'll go to a show. Sean and I will take the monorail and we walk. We walk to get to the monorail from the West Gate, up the thing. We walk through the casino. We walk across the street. We don't have a limo driver and we don't have car service. We are experiencing in some ways what, normal people are experiencing when it comes to some of these things. However, yes, we are taken places where, and given the opportunity to witness things so that we can share them with you. And sometimes Sean and I will look at each other and go, I don't get it. But we understand that some things that we've been to, like, it might be for somebody else. It doesn't mean that it's for us, but like, we don't get it. But you know what? I can see why people like this, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
We enjoyed the opening ceremony. It was spectacular. I loved it. I just thought it really was, I always think like, how can we top the year before or this event or that event? And it's like, wow, it was stunning. And that's how we started out F1. And then everyone's saying, well, you're backing the race. It had nothing to do with the race. I'm talking about opening ceremony. Was gorgeous. It was cool. And I just loved it.
And just to clear up some things that people were asking about on social media, no, neither of us was paid by F1 to say positive things. Neither of us was paid by Las Vegas to say positive things. It was our experience and our choice to look at things positively rather than continuously taking a negative take on things.
Yeah. And we had some lovely, waitresses that were working. We were throwing we gave our Uber driver a $40 extra cash tip. People were working and frustrated, and they worked hard. They had to get around, and we appreciate all of that. And I'm not telling you how much we threw all these. I'm just saying that we appreciated that everyone was there with a smile on and just trying their best to get through the weekend, because initially, from a distance, we saw so much construction and traffic and frustration that I think people went in thinking this is going to be a disaster, and it was more of like a thank you to our community for coming together and let's see how it goes. In the end, I think most people enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think so too. And then just to put a point on, all of it. I likened everything with F1 to a kitchen remodel.
Yeah.
When you're in the middle of that remodel, your kitchen is torn apart, your microwave is over on top of a box in the corner, that's your only cooking device. When you're living through that is frustrating. And, some people say, well, it's like living through hell when your kitchen's all torn apart.
Right.
But when the remodel is done, you're like, oh, look at this new kitchen.
Right.
And I feel like that's where we are now with F1.
Yeah.
We went through all the frustrating stuff. The event itself was terrific. It's coming back. The eyes of the world, over 100 million people tuned in around the world to watch the race here in Las Vegas. And so now we have that shiny new kitchen.
We do. And you know what? I think, for the people that went, and people say, well, the tickets came down, but that meant a lot of people that didn't think they were able to go could go. I saw a lot of people on social media on all platforms saying, we went at the last minute, or we went down there and we hung out even close by, and it was fun. And I also know that people are saying, well, some businesses were hurt, and that may be true. But I also did get a tweet from someone who said, my business actually thrived on that weekend, that I didn't normally get a lot of business. So it depends. And it was different, and it was the first time. So we don't know what to expect. We don't know who's going to thrive, who's not, and it was one weekend. And so we're going to figure that out. People are going to know now, maybe to tweak things. Maybe you if you were completely dead and you're off the strip or whatever, maybe you give people a couple days off and then you really kick it up leading up to it or after. I don't know, but we're going to have to make adjustments and go with the flow.
Well, and I think those are the kinds of things that you don't know about until you go through the event for the first time. And we've now been through that. We see where there are opportunities to improve systems, infrastructure, all of it. And it is people's jobs to go through and look at all that stuff and make sure that next year is better. And the year after that is even better than year two, and so on and so on. And I think it is going to become a well-oiled machine, but it's the things that you have to work through when you have an inaugural anything.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And, I think it's hard with social media. People are seeing videos and getting riled up. And all I say is, that does serve a purpose. Influencers serve a purpose. Just keep in mind, context is everything. Sometimes somebody's walking through an empty casino. It's like, what time is it, of day? Was it during the event? Because maybe everyone was at the event. Or was it early in the morning? Or was it, there are things where there has been, incidents where, this person was getting yelled at. Well, how long before that was somebody asking a person to either move or, kind of whatever the situation is. There's different parts of video, and we've talked about things on our podcast in the past where we said, here's what we saw with our own eyes, but we weren't sitting there. Let's see if some other videos from different perspectives come out. You have to keep all that in mind.
Yeah, you do.
Now, you guys did something that was very helpful is we had a lot of questions thrown at us, right? And so we tried really hard to get you some answers, and we did. We went right to the LVCVA and we asked them a list of questions. A lot of them people had asked us whether it was a private message or publicly, and tried to get some answers for you.
Yeah, and the number one question that we got is, how long is it going to take for all of this infrastructure to be taken back down again? Well, we know that it took at least a month. It was over a month for everything to be set up. So deconstructing, it's probably going to be about the same time. By January, the bulk of the infrastructure should be taken back down.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I did notice that they're going really quick. I have this little hair in my eye, and it's really annoying me. I did notice that they were working quick, though, this morning. Some of the live cameras out there was they were rolling and they were moving things. So, it could go a lot faster. They may be really trying to listen to the public and say, let's get this all down. We'll see. Here's another broad topic. Was the race worth it? Well, you know what? From some of these numbers that I'm going to read through, it seems like it. Worldwide viewership was estimated to be about 100 million. That's 100 million eyes and ears on Las Vegas. So pretty incredible. And you and I this was one of our questions. like, how is the community going to benefit? How is Southern Nevada going to benefit?
Right.
And we got some answers on that too.
Yeah, $100 million in tax revenue was brought in by this race. You have to remember F1 paid a big chunk of money to have this race here as well. So all of that tax revenue is going to go to things like K-12 education, higher education, healthcare. So that really does offset a whole bunch of money that would otherwise be need to come from somewhere else. And actually 25 million is going to go to K-12 education.
Yeah, that's really cool. I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure that we'll hear more and more about that, maybe some more specifics on how they plan to use it. The race was expected to employ more than 7,700 people and include roles for event operations and support, as well as construction. We kind of touched on that a little bit. But yes, we did. That was very visible. Visible workers on the ground, and then, of course, leading up to it.
Yeah, it was. Another big question. Will the track need to be paved again? Because we know how all that went the first time around. The answer is not immediately.
No, and it looks like it'll be a little while. So we thought, because now, like, a lot of people were saying, well, now we're going to have to go through all this again next time. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's going to be as bad. So the paving disruptions in future years, they said, will definitely be less. So that's great. Miller Project Management has said that the track should last 6 years, if not 8 to 10 years. Now, they do recognize there will be times where they have to go back and make repairs. So they've got a protocol in process and in place with the Clark County to make sure that it goes back to the same as they did it the first time around. And so they are looking ahead and planning for that. Doesn't seem like it's going to be as big of a mess. So that's some good news. What a relief.
Yeah, and with a 10-year commitment, they're hoping that the track that was put down this time around is going to last that entire span of time. Now, we are going to have a clearer idea on exact numbers, on hotel occupancy, on gaming revenue, in about a month from now, once all those facts and figures are compiled and then released. So we'll absolutely share that with you when we get that information in.
And the Las Vegas Grand Prix did say that over 300,000 people came in specifically for the event, that they were at the event. And then also about $1.2 billion is probably taken in as well. So again, we're going to have all that, like the money and the gambling and all that kind of thing coming in probably a month or so.
And somebody else who has been following everything F1 and really everything Vegas is Paul Contino. You probably know him better if you're following him on TikTok or Instagram as Vegas Pauly C.
I know. I mean, we gotta get it down. I'm excited to talk to Vegas Pauly C. He starts every video off with a little hello, and he's on TikTok as Vegas Pauly C, and then you can find him on Instagram as Casino Comp Wallet. We've been wanting to talk to Pauly C because a lot of his videos, I think we appreciate a little bit more because I don't know what you would call him. I don't know if he's necessarily an influencer. He provides content on social media, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of like a first-hand account. He walks around the strip. He shows a lot of different things. But what we love about what he does and how he presents his videos is that he always says, this is what I heard, or this is what I was told from someone that works there, but I haven't confirmed it. This is what I'm hearing. And then he also goes back and corrects a lot of his videos. There was something that came out about the Sphere and how much it made, and he'll get on and say, that's how much it made, but it also was only open for 2 days. And, he really clears a lot of things up. And so I think you and I, as journalists, appreciate his take as a social media storyteller.
Yeah, we definitely do. So we're excited to have Vegas Pauly C with us now. Pauly, hello.
Well, hi, how are you? It's Vegas Pauly C. Well, hello.
All right, how many people come up to you and say that?
A lot. Every day. Well, this is the way it goes. So not a lot of people really know what I look like exactly.
True.
Even though I am sort of an different looking kind of guy, but a lot of people don't know what I look like, but they know the voice. So what happens is, and this is always funny to me, I'll go to do a video and I'll do my video right out on the corner, wherever, and people will hear the voice and all of a sudden they'll turn and they'll be like, I know that voice. So if I'm out there using my voice, it's a lot more people, but it's probably 10 to 15 people a day.
I
And
love
it
that.
endlessly fascinates my girlfriend because, she knows me as a dork. She knows me as a nerd. She knows me as an introvert. She kind of knows me as just someone who just doesn't have it. And then she sees me out doing this and she can't, she really can't balance the two, I don't think. But, this is something that's just so enjoyable. I mean, how can you not love it?
I know. I mean, listen, you do a great job. I'm going to tell you the reason I feel like I follow and know who everyone is in Vegas. And then all of a sudden I have a friend in New York City who said he comes to visit Vegas a lot. And he says, Dana, do you know who Pauly C is? And I said, no. I said, how do I not know who Pauly C is? He says, you got to follow this guy. So I did. Then I started sharing with Sean. Even my mom follows along now. I mean, we love it. We love your content. It's different than everyone else. And it's sometimes it's a riot the way that you present it and how passionate you are about it. And you were just telling us off the phone that, listen, this is what I do and I love it and it feeds you, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, they technically call it narcissistic adoration. So, you feel that love come from the crowd. It's just like anything.
Right.
What's fascinating about it is I never felt it at all in any way, shape, or form my entire life. So when I started to feel it, I had to look it up and I had to figure out exactly what's going on. And I found out what it was, because the act of doing social media and the act of being an influencer is extremely, ridiculously, insanely narcissistic. I mean, it's embarrassing. It embarrasses me because, I have this relationship with my girlfriend. We've been together for 6 years, and I try and stay humble and I try and tend to her needs, and I'm very small in the relationship. And then I get out there and that starts to go on.
Right.
So once I saw that, I had to say, okay, I understand what's going on. And you start to understand like the cult of personality, and I studied it. But what's amazing about it to me is just how nice everyone is. Like everyone is so kind and everyone encourages me.
Great.
And sometimes I do stuff and I say, that's not that great. But then everybody tells me it's great. And I'm like, but I don't let myself, get high on my own supply.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm constantly watching and I'm saying, well, that's not that, maybe I made a mistake over there. Like I made one really tragic mistake. And can I tell this story? Do you have time to hear this?
Go ahead. Let's hear
it.
So
we're all about tragic mistakes.
I made this tragic mistake. I went in front of the Sphere and I was high on my own supply because I had just done a video where I showed the hockey pucks. I had walked up to the Sphere. There was no security all in front of it. I hadn't breached anything. I hadn't done anything wrong. But the security was not there. It was 2 days before it opened. There was nobody there. And I said to myself, wow, there's nobody here. So let me walk up to it. And I did a close-up video. I had never seen what powered the Sphere. And it's these little hockey pucks that have LED lights on it.
Yep.
So I made that video. And the minute I made it, I was like, oh, boy, this is a home run because I got 100,000 views within 2 hours, and then 1 million views within 12. And it went to 5 million views. So, of course, I'm going to walk by the Sphere every day. So now the next day I walk by the Sphere and there's someone working on a utility closet. And I swear, you're going to have to take my word for this, although maybe some people don't. I come from a place of innocence. I'm really not trying to cause any trouble. I certainly don't want to get in any trouble. So I start interviewing the guy that's working on the box. Now, all the box does is it's a camera box that looks at the Sphere from 4 different angles so that the controllers inside the booth can see what's on outside the booth, so that they understand what they're doing inside. So I start to interview the guy and, I put it up innocently and it's doing really well. And I'm like happy with it because, again, it was just something that I did with no malintent. And I start to see these comments and you're going to get that guy fired. He shouldn't have been talking to you. A lot of negativity. And immediately, because my EQ should be higher than it is, emotional quotient, my EQ is it's a little on the low side sometimes. Immediately, I start fighting back in the channel. Like, what are you talking about? He's not going to get fired. You're all crazy. Why do you got to be negative? Like, I hit some negativity for the first time, and I didn't handle it well. Sure enough, the guy got fired.
Oh,
but
no.
I talked to his boss because his boss is the one who said, can you please take down the video? So his boss assured me, and I forgot the name of the company, but his boss assured me he wasn't going to get fired. He was just going to get transferred off the job because Jimmy Dolan, who owns the Sphere, runs a tight ship over there, and they had a fit, blah, 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 blah. So my understanding is that he did not get fired. He got transferred. But I made an apology video. But the whole thing was just 3 days of me feeling so terrible. But I want to tell you this because I always tell the God's honest truth about everything.
You do.
about 4 days ago, I got a DM from somebody who said, you know, that guy who you just got transferred, who you just went, he did end up getting fired.
Oh.
And again, this is already weeks later. I mean, I don't know how long ago the Sphere opened. So again, I had all those emotions again. Again, I feel terrible. I said, look, you know, to the DM that came in 4 or 5 days ago, I said, I feel terrible. Have the guy contact me and I'll do something for him, with him, of him. You know, I'll try and make amends in some way, shape, or form. I mean, I'm not without resources. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I never heard from it. But that was my most tragic mistake.
Yeah.
So now when I see employees, I leave them alone.
Okay.
That's basically the lesson that I learned.
Lesson learned.
Even though it's really a curiosity and it really does come from a place of innocence.
Yeah. No, I know. It's curiosity. And sometimes people will start talking to you and you don't know.
Right.
I mean, we went to, we were
the saddest part about it is I just want to say the guy was the sweetest guy in the world. That's why he gave me all that information.
I know. Well, we went up to Northern Nevada and we stopped at that clown motel, America's Scariest, and whatever. We talked to a woman that worked there and everything was fine. But I thought later when I was posting it, like, I hope she's allowed to talk to us. Like, she was letting us in rooms and she kind of just seemed like, you know, and she was telling us all this stuff. But you do have to, and that's the thing, it's curiosity, but, you know, but anyway, so I get it.
You didn't get a text that she got fired.
Nope.
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
No, we didn't.
Right.
Saved by the clowns.
I think she's a lifer.
Okay, good. Well, Vegas is tough with the jobs. You know, they fire at will out here. You know, like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your honesty. And one thing that Sean and I always say is that we love that when you do your videos that you always say, like, I heard from someone and this is what I'm hearing, but I cannot confirm. So I do enjoy that side of it. I feel like it is really honest because there's a lot out there right now that's very, you know, it's out of context.
Well,
it's not backed up.
Yeah.
So
I make mistakes. So I found out. So somebody told me that I ran into somebody in the hallway at a casino and he goes, look, I'm security at the Wynn and blah, blah, blah. Don't quote whoever I am. Don't do this. Don't do that. And he said, I heard they made $1 million in one day. And I said, how many dealers, whatever? And I did the math and I came up with $2,800. So I thought, I had posted this video this morning. I thought that they made $2,800 in one day.
Right.
And I got an avalanche of DMs. No, they didn't make $2,800. They made $2,000. And they worked very hard and it was a 12-hour shift. And you know, I just posted, I posted a video. I say, look, I was wrong. It wasn't $2,800. They made $2,000. It's still interesting.
It is.
You know, that they made $2,000 in a 12-hour shift.
Yeah. And then you get another video at it.
Right. Well, yeah, when I'm wrong, I always, you know, I have the thing about my mental state is, or my brain chemistry, and I have no problem being wrong. Like, oh, wow, I was wrong. Let me fix it. You know, hope I didn't do any crazy damage.
Right.
And I just go back and I say, look, I was wrong. I'm doing the best job I can do out here.
Yeah.
I come to it from a place of innocence and I just want to entertain. I want to make people laugh. I want to give people the information. And if I'm totally wrong, I say, look, I was wrong and I move on, you know?
Well, and that's the way to do it. That's what we appreciate. F1 obviously has been the topic of a lot of conversation, a lot of frustration as well. We're just kind of going over the post F1 numbers, the impact it's going to have across the entire community. What was your big takeaway from year one of having the Formula One Las Vegas Grand Prix here?
Okay, so some of this is selfish, certainly in the beginning, so I want to get that out there.
Okay.
Because in the very beginning, when they started to tear up the strip, I started to put up videos. Every video I put up got a million views, 2 million views, 3 million views. So in the beginning, when they started to tear up the strip, I was like, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to Vegas Pauly C, because now I'm getting all these views from something new. And as time went by, I saw the traffic building up, and I would do live performances in the morning, and I would ask the locals what they thought about it. And I'd say, who's positive about it, who's negative about it. And I saw, 80% of the people were negative, 90% of the people were negative. And then I saw them cut down the trees, when I ran over there and I saw the sap boiling out of the stump, which hurt. It hurt because these are desert trees. They've been there for 50 years. They got them from the back of the property over there.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, would Steve Wynn have really done this? Would he have blocked the fountains like this? No, probably not.
Mm-hmm.
And I got very mixed emotions. And leading up to it, I got a little sour and a little concerned. And then because I'm a cheap, easy audience, those race cars went by me on that first night. And let me tell you, I was happy with the 9 minutes. So I was happy with the 9 minutes that first night. I was over there at the Heineken Silver. And I went home and I didn't think about suing anybody or getting back half of my ticket. Well, I didn't pay for my ticket anyway. Somebody invited me.
Mm-hmm. We did.
And that Friday I went back again and I was at the VIP here at the Venetian and it was fabulous. I saw the cars going by. So the minute it started, and this is one of my biggest faults as a human being, the minute it started, I was overwhelmingly, ridiculously, enthusiastically positive about it. Because now I'm having all of these emotional moments I'm getting choked up by and I was so overwhelmingly positive, but the media had already gone ridiculously negative over the weekend. So I'm getting a lot of feedback. I'm getting a lot of contact. A lot of people are contacting me saying, this is the worst thing that ever happened in Vegas. Isn't this a disaster, Pauly? See, isn't this the worst? The casinos are empty. This is terrible. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I was in the casinos. I saw $100,000 chips on the table. I have never seen that much action come across the table in my entire life. You can't even get to a $500 minimum table. I said, people are making money here. I said, I don't know. I'm not negative about it at all. But the press was negative all the way through Sunday night. And then Monday morning, I wake up this morning and I see all of this press about, how are you?
So you were watching me play?
No, not you, but congratulations if you won a lot of money.
Yeah, $100,000 chips. I'm making it too.
Oh, okay. So I got up on Monday morning and I see the press like most overwhelming, incredible, amazing event to have ever happened in Las Vegas.
Isn't it interesting how it turned?
Well, I just couldn't believe that the press turned on a dime like that with no shame.
Yeah.
Like, wow.
Yeah.
Have you guys... Now, you guys are in the press. You guys are news people. You guys are professionals.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So we went in frustrated with the construction. And then as it got closer, we've always been lovers of Las Vegas. We go to all the big events. We love it. We think it's, the best thing ever. And we said, we're going into F1 week here positive. We're ready to let's see how this goes. It could be it's a global event. And then us too, we were invited and we went to opening ceremony and we went to the practice round on Friday at 8:30. And I mean, I would just mentioned earlier in the podcast, I looked at Sean, he looked at me, and like our mouths were open. We were like in awe over it was emotional seeing everything and experiencing the cars and even the teams. We're looking in the garages and these teams of people working, and I mean, it was unreal.
It was overwhelming. It was so incredible. So then, all weekend living it and being sort of immersed in it and feeling how incredible it was. Getting all of that negativity from the rest of the country through the chat, it was confusing me.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to sleep last night like, okay, well, I loved it, but maybe I loved it because I'm the world's most selfish human being. I don't know. My mind is always open to that because when you start to do this influencer thing, you could, if you, like I said, if you get high on your own supply, you'll lose your mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, so, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was just great for me because I didn't pay anything and I had such a great time. And then I woke up this morning and the press was all like it was the greatest thing in the history of civilization. So I guess they got on board later on. But what really kind of, I wouldn't say bothered me, but it definitely, made me like, it was like it gave me whiplash. The whiplash of it was, wow.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I know.
The whiplash of the press.
I know. Well, we just got done with the conversation. We were on Twitter talking about how we enjoyed it. And we got, like we were saying, the attacked more than we've ever been attacked. How are we getting attacked for being positive? And it was the same experience. Yeah. So
by locals, in other words?
Locals, yep. A lot of locals and even some people even a little bit from people from around the world who were kind of like upset that Vegas was having the race here and we shouldn't. And then different kinds of bloggers and stuff like that. So it was interesting. I mean, we were getting memes with the finger up and the whole nine.
There were businesses, and there were at least 10 businesses, I'm sure. I mean, we probably could make a list of 20 of them. There were businesses that got wiped out by this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the gas station over on Koval and Flamingo.
True.
They said that their business went from that guy actually contacted me. I think his business went from 100,000 a day down to zero.
Mm-hmm.
Because they built that bridge over there.
Yeah.
I mean, some places closed down. So there were absolutely, you have to be cognizant of the fact that there were a lot of people that lost. I was interviewed by the F1 photographer. I think his name is Kim Illman or something like that. And I said, look, I think that they did a terrible job. I think F1 did a terrible job in not communicating to the public. I told them, I said, I thought that they got a D at best. I feel that, and I'm not saying this to project any sort of virtue signaling, but I think they could have done a lot more for the locals. I mean, they could have put up a grandstand somewhere over there in the T-Mobile zone, somewhere over there near the Sphere, somewhere on the Strip, and they could have let people in for $150 or $100. You know, they could have let the locals in because, you know, people going to their job every single day, they had an extra hour and a half, an extra 45 minutes.
Yep.
That adds up over the months.
It does.
And
We live close
I'm
by.
a little,
We
I'm
felt
still
it.
a little, you know, I'm still all, you know, excited from the event and whatever. But, you know, now next year going in, it's still going to be 2 months before, and a month after is going to be 3 months of inconveniencing everybody with the traffic. You know, wow. You know, in other words, there's a price to pay for this.
Yeah.
You know, when you come back to reality, there's a pretty big price to pay.
There is, but when your reality is living in a city that is based on providing hospitality to the rest of the world, I feel like there has to be some sort of ownership of the fact that at some point you are going to be inconvenienced in some way in order to provide world-class experiences that nowhere else on earth can provide.
I do believe that that's true. But what's interesting about this, not from a science perspective, because that's being too dramatic. What's interesting about this is that it probably is the most amount of sacrifice ever asked of the general public for a benefit that is huge, but is not really being universally distributed. So you have almost a test case in patience.
Mm-hmm.
Can you understand what I'm saying?
Like, no, yeah, totally. I do. And so, you know,
fair enough.
A boxing event or any kind of event is not going to really impact the locals like this did.
No,
like the average local probably gave up. Well, let's just use 10 hours a week. They may have given up 100 hours of their life for this.
Mm-hmm.
And they may have a job where, let's just say you're a local who works at that gas station over on Koval.
Mm-hmm.
Now you gave up 100 hours of your life and you lost your job, and your boss can't pay you. So there were some very profound winners and losers here, way more than usual.
I agree. And we were just saying, some people said, you know, it was just terrible, you know, when it came to their business. But then some people wrote us and said, hey, my business had the best weekend it's ever had. So it is a tough one. Hey, and interestingly enough, we went to the LVCVA today. We had a list of questions, and they did tell us that the viewership on this thing was 100 million viewers worldwide on the broadcast. And then also the economic impact, we already have seen that 1.2 billion, but the race apparently is bringing in 100 million or so in tax revenue, and it's going to be used for services like K through 12 education, higher education, and healthcare, and about 25 million of that is going to go to K to 12 education. So we thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, that's fantastic, because they definitely need to put more money into that here in the state of Nevada.
Yeah, so it's good to see that the community will benefit.
I mean, Vegas, let's be honest, Vegas is booming. I mean, not only is it booming, but it just keeps getting better and better. And now you have the A's coming here and the Super Bowl coming here. I mean, people say to me, what's the future of Las Vegas? And I say, I think in 40 years, the number one city population-wise will still be New York, but I don't think Vegas is going to be far behind. I mean, I see Vegas, you know, they call it Manhattanization. I know that was happening in 2005, and then the financial crisis hit. But I think they're going to start again with the vertical, and they start to put people in vertical apartment buildings. They're building a couple of new apartment buildings downtown, a couple of new condo units. I think they're going to start to go vertical. And I see Vegas as, I think I'll be dead, but I don't know how old you guys are. Maybe you're younger than me. 40 years from now, I see Vegas being the second largest city in the country.
Interesting.
Because, and I always joke about this on my lives. I say Vegas, it's the get it done city. It really is. You know, if you're from New York, if you're from the East Coast, if you're from New York, if you're from New Jersey, and you see what happened with the A's, that's like a 5-year process in New York.
Right.
True. Very true.
And you guys got it done here. You know, it was like a thought, and then they picked a location, and then it happened. That was like to me, and I know I'm exaggerating a little bit, that was like a 1-month execution.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
it seems like it.
We interviewed James Dolan before the Sphere opening, and he said, you know, I said, well, aren't you going to put one in New York City? He said, well, if they would have it, like Vegas was so welcoming and easy to work with that He knows.
He knows because he does business in New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's been, you have no idea. I mean, I was in that industry, obviously not anywhere near close to the level of James Dolan, but they actually make you ask to just put up cable television with each town. You have to go through like a lengthy approval process.
Mm.
So if anybody knows about towns getting in the way and government being hostile, and I'm not blowing any smoke up James Dolan's tuchus, trust me. But if anybody knows about that pain, because I was in telecommunications, it's James Dolan.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So he comes out here, but he must just, when he gets out here, gets off the plane, he must feel like, oh, I can breathe.
A breath of fresh desert air. You gotta love it. Hey, as the weeks are counting down to the end of 2023, I mean, it's still a packed roster that we have the rest of this year, and then into next year. It's just same velocity with things. What are the three things you're most looking forward to coming up here in the next few months in Vegas?
Well, definitely the opening of the Fontainebleau,
Mhm.
the opening of the Durango, and the Super Bowl. Very easy.
Yeah.
Three good ones.
That's
Three good ones.
December, January, and February.
Yeah, well, I live at Turnberry, so I've been staring at Fontainebleau, and I do all my update photos of all the changes and the lights on and all that.
The casino's beautiful. I saw a video of the casino's gorgeous.
Yeah, it looks really nice. Will we see you at the opening? Sean and I are going.
Well, I won't be invited because, I put up videos of the windows falling out and whatever. I just, whatever information I have, I put up. And someone had said that was due to the wind, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure I'm persona non grata over there, but I'll go over. I mean, I'm not,
Yeah.
I don't, sometimes I have to sneak around a little bit, but I'll go over there and check it out, definitely.
And we talked to you before we actually got you on the line here and started recording. So just tell folks if they want to follow you, what do? You do a morning? Where are you on in the morning, on TikTok or Instagram when you're doing your morning walk?
I walk on TikTok, and then I try and get people to go over to my YouTube, which I just started a couple of months ago. So I walk from the Strip downtown. It was very windy this morning, but I do a morning show, and that's live maybe 5 days a week, 6 days a week. As many days as I can get out there. I really enjoy doing it after the coffee hits me.
Mm-hmm.
And then whatever I see on the street, I'll do videos. Like I woke up this morning, and they were already taking down the F1 stuff.
Right.
And what happens with the live, what happens with the chat, and what happens with social media is everybody tells you what they want. So all I have to do is just do what the people want. So everybody's asking me constantly, how long is it going to be? How long will it take, to get all the stuff down?
Mm-hmm.
So I did a video of it, and, they say it's going to be 4 or 5 weeks, which is long to me. I can't imagine. Maybe you guys know better how many weeks it's going to take to get the Strip back to normal. That seems a little long.
Yeah,
right?
they said that's the one thing they can't pinpoint as they start taking it down, because it's obviously the first time they're going to do it.
Right.
They did say the inconvenience in the fall is going to be a lot less, though. That they don't have to repave the track. So
okay,
they'd only have to repave it every.
That's an open question.
Yeah. So that was the one thing that they couldn't answer. They said, they're going to have to see how it goes. But I saw you out there this morning, and it looks like they're starting to, working on it quick. I have a feeling they might try and get it down, quick.
Yeah, I think they'll get it done in a couple of weeks. I really do.
Yeah, definitely. All right. So you came to town, 18 months ago, you said?
I came to town. I started walking on February 1st of 2022. And I was walking for 6 days. And a woman named Mona from Texas sends me a video. This is the first time I had any narcissistic adoration. A woman from Texas sends me a video of me doing something funny. And I didn't even understand that she had screenshot me. This is the level of naivete. Like, I didn't even know you could do that with your phone. Now I know how to do it. So I'm technically challenged. I'm bumbling around out there. She sends me a video of me doing something funny. And she says, I hope you don't mind, but I set up a fan page for you. And I'm like, don't mind. I'm like smiling ear to ear. I'm like, oh my God, a fan page for me. Who the hell am I? I'm a nerd from the basement. And that basically started the whole thing rolling. From then on, I was hooked. She gave me my first hot dose.
Oh my gosh.
Of the drug.
I love it.
Mona from Texas.
Oh.
Mona from Texas. We call her the General. She's still in the show. She's such a sweet woman. I've met her 3 or 4 times now. She comes to Vegas all the time. And, I consider her a friend, really.
That's terrific.
That really is. Listen, we love your intros. We love your outros. We're going to keep in touch with you because we appreciate your take on things. We're both now following you on.
Yeah, whatever I can do for you guys, I'll be happy to do it. I try and help the people who are in the press, the podcast, as much as possible.
Yeah. And we love your take. We love your descriptions. You really do absorb a lot of information up in that head when you're walking and talking.
Yeah, well, I love doing it.
What do you get? Direct messages from people that work at places and say, hey?
I get a lot of DMs from people that give me information. And as soon as I see it from 2 or 3 people, then I say to myself, well, maybe there's some truth to this. And then I try and go deeper. But sometimes, there's so much stuff I can't put up because it's just so unfounded and ridiculous.
Yeah.
But when I heard about the win and the money and the amount of money they took in tips, and I heard it from a couple different people, and I talked to some people over there, yeah, they did almost. I heard $1 million, but Las Vegas locally, who's very good, they said it was only 700,000.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, I heard that the dealers made $2,000. So
it's a lot of money. It's pretty good, I think.
I can move forward with that. I don't have to be like
No,
embarrassed.
I like it. All right, Pauly, well, you gotta do your out cue for us, because we couldn't have this phone conversation if we didn't end it with your voice ending the broadcast.
Ready, I'll do it.
All right, do it. Here we go.
Vegas, Pauly C.
Pauly, thanks so much for your time, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. A lot of fun to talk to Vegas Pauly C.
Pauly C.
I mean, he is very unique. You got to give him that, right?
He is.
It's different. I like it. It's something different. Everything starts to look the same and sound the same after a while, right?
And he's out there hitting the pavement every single morning. I love it.
You'd think that he lived here for like a really long time. That's what it seems like. But it's interesting to his take, because he's a gambler.
Yeah.
So, it's
true.
like a different kind of perspective. So, did appreciate that. Just like he mentioned, obviously, the Fountain Blues opening on the 13th. We've got Durango Station Casino's newest resort and casino opening on December 5th. Then we've got New Year's Eve and Super Bowl. Sean and I are going to enjoy Thanksgiving and just take a little bit of time off to wrap up some projects that we need to do for the end of the year. But we're going to be back early December.
Yeah, that's right. December 9th. Is when we'll have a new episode out for you. So just taking 1 week off so we can have some downtime, rejuvenate for a busy end of the year and super busy start of 2024. We want to be on our A game for you.
They do. And with the Fountain Blue opening and everything, we're going to have some special, coverage of that.
Yes.
And we're going to be on the red carpet. And so we're going to bring you a lot of stuff. So we kind of just going to take a breather, spend some time with family and friends. We hope you enjoyed this longer episode. We gave you that, right? And then, of course, we will be back. Also, on just a quick little note, we got to mention we're getting a baseball team now, too, by the way.
We are. The A's, they're coming.
Yeah, so lots of new updates. Follow us on social media. We'll always be there, because that's easy. It's at our thumbs. And don't come at us. Don't be mean. Be nice.
We will.
See you for episode 197. Have a great holiday, everyone.
Bye.
We got bills to pay. Packing up a suitcase. Let's take a holiday.